Good evening and welcome to the WDSU News Hot Seat. I'm Travers Mackel. The voters spoke earlier this week, and now there are quite a few races set for the December 6th runoff, the biggest involving the U.S. Senate seat and a runoff between incumbent Democrat Mary Landrieu and Baton Rouge-based Republican Congressman Bill Cassidy. So tonight we're discussing the political strategy for both. We're joined by Dr. Silas Lee, political pollster from Xavier University, and Mike Sherman, political analyst from Tulane. Let's just get right to it. Bobby Jindal endorsed Bill Cassidy. Not a big surprise there. What is a surprise, the Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee saying that they're pulling the bulk of their TV advertising from Mary Landrieu. Dr. Lee, did that come as a surprise to you?
Very much so, considering the fact that they would like to have her reelected. But you notice when they made that announcement, they said that they have confidence in her ability to survive this runoff, and they feel that she is capable of doing that. Now, that definitely means that she will have to make up that $1.8 million that they took away from her. She will have to try to raise that money somewhere else. That's going to be a steep hill for her to climb, and more importantly, it's a distraction, because rather than fundraising, you would like to be focused on energizing your voters and definitely, for her, expand the coalition.
Whether it's right or not, Mike, it makes it look like the National Party just said, hey, you know what, we're tossing in the white flag. And whether that's accurate or not, and sometimes in politics, perception is reality. Is that the case here?
Well, we'll see over the next few weeks where the National Party and other core Democratic groups put their money in this race. There's two things that Mary Landrieu has to do. First, turnout in the December runoff, which will be a Saturday, among her base voters, particularly African Americans who voted almost 95% in her favor. Number two, turnout alone can't do it. She's got to convince some of those white voters who have been with her in the past to come back and put the knob for her. The issue of Senate control's over. So the rest of the country is not looking to Louisiana to see is the Senate Democrat or Republican controlled. That decision's done. This is about Louisiana.
You hear this line a lot in political circles. There's a path to victory for her. It seems like the path got a whole lot rockier. Dr. Lee, what is the path for victory to her?
Well, she must try to build that coalition from '08. You notice in the primary, she lost a lot of support from white women and white voters overall. From white voters, it went down about 12%, white women about 15%. And that's a significant number of votes in order for her to make up. So that means turnout alone cannot compensate. She must attract not only Democrats, but also independents. Keep in mind, in this state, we have 48% registered Democrats. However, a lot of them might be in name only, or they vote independently. So she must expand that support among them. She also had in '08 quite a bit of support from other elected Republican officials. Didn't happen this time around, but she was able to get support from other registered Republicans. Didn't happen as much as she would have liked this time around. So she must build that coalition again.
You look like you want to jump in on this.
Dr. Lee, that was one of the things that surprised me most about this race, is that I thought this was going to be a Louisiana Senate race about the two candidates, and what we saw is Louisiana, which has been counter-cyclical to the rest of the country, the last state in the solid South to have vestiges of the solid South voting patterns for Democrats, and Mary Landrieu is the last of the last in that group. This was a race about national issues. Now, what I'm interested in seeing for this December runoff, for people who are angry at the President of the United States and his policies and voted Republican as a backlash against President Obama, that issue's done. Does this get back to a race on the incumbent Mary Landrieu and her challenger, Congressman Cassidy? Or do voters still come to the polls with anger and rage in their minds?
Final question on this topic right here. I'm going to kind of get off the subject here. The Landrieu name is a big political name. You know him. You used to work for Mitch Landrieu. Yeah. If she would lose, does that affect him possibly running for governor a year from now? Because his name has been mentioned quickly, because we only have about a minute. But if she doesn't win this race, does that affect him next year, possibly running for governor?
I think it can. He has to be very careful about that. Certainly, no one likes to lose, but when you consider the fact that it is the Landrieu family, and they have held public office for decades, that's something I'm quite sure that's in the back of his mind, considering his political fortunes and what happens with his sister.
Yeah. Here's a question for Democrats across the state of Louisiana, Mitch Landrieu or anybody else who's a Democrat thinking about statewide office. What's that path to victory? You used to have to come out of the metro New Orleans area with a huge lead, hold your own through Baton Rouge and Acadiana, and then you can take some losses in the northern part of the state. That path is a little bit different right now. You've got to put together a new coalition if you're a Democrat and want to win statewide.
Also, she underperformed in many of those parishes that she did extremely well in 08. And we have to see if having the election on Saturday will compensate for that underperformance last week.
We'll see. It should be an interesting month. With Silas Lee and Mike Sherman, I'm Travers Mackle. When we come back from break, we're jumping into the 6th Congressional District, and Edwin Edwards, he ran first, but can he go back to Washington, D.C. as a congressman? We're going to discuss that coming up after the break.